Year 3, Week 4, separation begins. Let's get back to another DNS address. Week 4 is complete. We're officially reached a point in the season where resumes start separating. Georgia Southern gets another ranked team win. Georgia Tech continues treating opposing quarterbacks like they owe somebody money. Texas State's 4-0 and suddenly has an early Heisman candidate. South Florida survives Navy, gets 2 kick return touchdowns from the same player. Troy handles business, and a few other teams are starting to feel the season get away from them. The honeymoon period is over. Now we find out who is real. This is Separation Begins. Let's go ahead and get into it. Our headline of the week is Georgia Southern keeps stacking them. Georgia Southern welcomed number 25 Notre Dame to Statesboro. And after everything this team has already faced, this one almost felt normal. Almost. Georgia Southern wins 20-17. KJ Towers was extremely efficient. Todd found the end zone. Michael went over 100 yards receiving and scored, and the defense did what it needed to do late. 4 sacks, 1 interception. Calcutt was all over the field with 14 tackles. Georgia Southern improves to 3-1. And look at that resume. Loss to number 1, Oklahoma. Win over number 4, Oregon. Win over number 7, LSU. Win over number 25, Notre Dame. That is 3 straight victories after the opener, and all 3 came against nationally relevant opponents. Georgia Southern gets a bye this week. Frankly, they earned it. Georgia Tech becomes a public safety issue. SMU came to Atlanta. Georgia Tech won 57-3. We need to talk about this defense. 14 sacks. 14. 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, a safety. At some point, the SMU quarterback may have considered changing majors. Klutz threw 3 touchdowns. Mason added another. Willie's rushed for 135. Ford scored twice. Georgia Tech is now 4-0, and the numbers through the 4 games are getting ridiculous. This team is not just winning, it's suffocating people. Next week, the Yellow Jackets travel to number 18, Clemson. That should finally give us another serious majoring stick. Although, judging by the first 4 weeks, Clemson may want extra linemen. Texas State is 4-0. Texas State beat Utah State 32-0, a shutout. A 4-0 start, and suddenly we may have an early Heisman storyline. Demarcus Compton carried the ball 55 times. Yes, 55. For 230 yards and 2 touchdowns, and at some point somebody needs to make sure he still has his knees. But the production is undeniable, and now he is firmly in the early Heisman radar race. Risling threw 3 touchdowns. Damian Crow caught 2 of them while topping 100 yards. The defense added 3 sacks and 2 interceptions. Texas State is 4-0. Remember, this team started 0-4 last year? Now they're undefeated, and their running back is starting to enter a national award conversation. This is complete reversal. We love to see it. South Florida survives Navy this week. Number 14, South Florida gets back to 500. The Bulls beat Navy 31-24. Julian Lewis threw 2 touchdowns, but also had 2 interceptions. Wilder had a solid day on the ground. Terry Shelton delivered another big receiving day. And the headline, C.J. Stadler. 2 kickoff return touchdowns. Yes, 2. Apparently returning 1 was not enough in this dynasty. South Florida may now have multiple players across the last couple seasons who've treated kickoff coverage like a suggestion. The defense also recorded 4 sacks and interception, and South Florida improves to 2-2. And next week, you may ask, number 4, Texas A&M comes to town. That is the opportunity to beat a top 5 team. And this season looks completely different. Troy gets back to business after being humbled by Ohio State. They needed a reset. They got one. They beat Louisiana 31-3. Waldrop was back under center, healthy apparently. Still got questions about that. He threw a touchdown and added another on the ground. A.C. Walters rushed for 113 yards and scored. Boyd led the receiving group. The defense allowed 3 points and created multiple turnovers. Troy improves to 3-1 next week at UAB. And with UAB sitting at 0-4, Troy will need to handle business. Old Dominion falls again. Old Dominion traveled to number 21, Washington. Washington wins 45-40. ODU had another big offensive day. Timmons went off. He was explosive on the ground and through the air. Rallo found the end zone again. The defense forced two fumbles, and Devontae Floyd returned one of those 41 yards for a touchdown. But Old Dominion could not get enough stops. This is now back-to-back close losses. First, number 8, Ohio or Ole Miss in overtime. Now, number 21, Washington by 5. Old Dominion falls to 3-2. They are close, very close, but close losses still count the same. Marshall comes to town next week. That feeling gets a little get-ready opportunity. Sacramento State gets hit by Penn State. Number 25 Penn State went to Sacramento and left with a convincing win, 48-20. Sam Babcock threw a touchdown. Golly went over 100 yards rushing. Rainey scored, but Sacramento State never found enough answers defensively. The Hornets fall to 2-2 next week at Buffalo. The goal is simple: reset, get above 500. Army takes its first loss of the year as well. Army traveled to Boston College, and Boston College wins 40-14. Lutter threw 3 interceptions. Godspeed gave Army a strong day on the ground with 2 touchdowns, but the turnovers were too much. Army falls to 1-1 under Nighthawk. Next week, Liberty comes to West Point. This is a response game waiting to happen. Our stock-ups this week: Georgia Southern, 3 straight wins, all against ranked or major name opponents. The resume officially is becoming difficult to ignore. Georgia Tech 4-0, dominant defense, 14 sacks this week. This is not a trend anymore. This is an identity. Texas State 4-0, shutout victory, and an early Heisman candidate emerging in the backfield. Bobcats are no longer a cute story. They're becoming a real one. Our need more film of the week: Old Dominion's defense. The defense is doing enough. The offense is doing enough to win. The defense needs to finish the games. Sacramento State 2-2. The margin for error is shrinking. And Army's turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a 26-point loss. That could have become a pattern. Week 4 honors. Our offensive player of the week is Demarcus Compton from Texas State. 55 carries, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, an early Heisman candidate. That workload is ridiculous, but the production is real. Our defensive unit of the week is Georgia Tech's defense. 14 sacks, 3 points allowed, 1 safety recorded. Another dominant performance, and at this point, we may need to start giving the offensive lines across from Georgia Tech hazardous pay. Our Built Not Given award of the week goes to Georgia Southern again, and yes, they keep making it difficult to give this award to somebody else. After losing the opener to number 1 Oklahoma, Georgia Southern has beaten number 4 Oregon, number 7 LSU, and number 25 Notre Dame. 3 straight wins, no excuses, no panic, just response after response. Now they get a week to breathe. They're built, not given. Week 5, look ahead. The schedule looks loaded. Number 5, Georgia Tech at number 18, Clemson. Georgia Tech's 4-0. The defense has been terrifying. Now comes another ranked road test. Number 4, Texas A&M at number 14, South Florida. South Florida is back to 2-2. Beat Texas A&M, though. The entire national conversation changes. Mississippi State at number 1, Texas. Will E. Nelson gets the number 1 team in the country. Nothing like returning from a relaxing bye. Troy at UAB. Troy's 3-1. UAB's 0-4. One team's going to have to stay in contention. The other's trying to stop the bleeding. Marshall at Old Dominion. ODU has lost 2 straight close games. It's time to respond. Sacramento State at Buffalo. The Hornets need to get back above 500. Texas State at Colorado State. Texas State is trying to move to 5-0. Compton's gets another chance to keep that Heisman conversation going. Liberty at Army. Coach Hawk looks for a second win, and Georgia Southern's on a bye. Probably the first opponent they've seen all year that is not ranked. Week 4 is given a separation. Georgia Southern keeps stacking quality wins. Georgia Tech keeps destroying offenses. Texas State's undefeated. Troy is back on track. South Florida is back to 500, and some teams are beginning to hit pressure points. Old Dominion needs a rebound. Sacramento State needs consistency. Army needs to clean up the turnovers. UAB still looking for win number 1. And next week brings another monster slate. Georgia Tech at Clemson. Texas A&M at South Florida. Mississippi State at number 1, Texas. Troy at UAB. The season's moving fast now, and from here forward, every loss gets heavier, every ranked win matters more, and every team starts showing us exactly what it is. The separation has begun in the department of the natural selection. You select, we collect, built, not given.